in the game instead, I think it's quite passive for black. Because black played, even though later, but played this knight c6. And that means that white can't be challenged by the c-pawn for now. And white can try rook c1, queen c2. If they ever open the file, there will be a huge pressure against the c-pawn. And I think this is what actually happened. So you have queen d6, queen c2, rook d8, rook fc1, bishop d7, and rook ac8. And so black needs to be passive like that. So usually it's not considered really great to have this knight blocking. Usually either the c6, knight can go around, or c5 and then knight follows behind the pawn. And maybe here also black will need to even move the knight back and try to prepare c5, but that's just much slower, and sometimes white can even switch and go c5 and prepare b4, or just play e4 and open everything up, and black is simply gonna be too slow with the counter game. So yeah, I think here Knack is doing so far well, and we see that they're both from Germany, so must be, you know, it's always interesting going for those big tournaments or championships and playing against players from your own country. But also for Knack, if he manages to win, it's a super important victory in terms of fighting for the top places, because Meyer has a half point more, 6.5 out of 8. So far, I think that's the most important thing about this game. And before we jump to Fischer, I would just want to see how is Alexander Michalewski doing. He's playing Daniel Kozavka from Uruguay. And Michalewski, he was a leader yesterday. He had 6 points out of 7. And he is the one who lost this horrible endgame. He was better out of the opening. He was pushing later for the win, really, with rook against 2 pieces. But then he got himself in some trouble. He needed to give up the rook for the pawn, so his opponent stayed with those 2 pieces that eventually checkmated him. So it was a very painful loss, I think. And after 6 hours, yeah, it's just so difficult in those tournaments. And now it's just key game in terms of how do we deal with that, because he's still doing great in the tournament. He's still on 6 out of 8, but he has to forget about what happened yesterday, and he has got to try to recover after this painful loss. So far, I think he's doing well. The position is quite unusual. We have those funny pawns in the center here, but he's doing great on the clock. That's very important, although he was also doing great yesterday, because